There's this fucking creature that joined in on writing hit pieces about me back during my cancellation campaign in 2025. I don't remember what article they wrote. I just remember it being astronomically fucking insane.
Flashback.
Why does every journalist that writes an article about Kirsche seem to be a pedophile? And I was like, what the fuck happened now? And so I look at this, and he's got a picture here that says, new article up. This one discusses Patriot Front and their tactical similarities to certain right-wing VTuber personalities. Hashtag I stand with Anna Valens. Hashtag fuck Nazis. Hashtag Twitch. Hashtag VSky. Hashtag Nazi VTubers fuck off. Hashtag alt-right. And this says Texas Terror Part 3 Patriot Front. I'm like, what the fuck? And then there's another picture here from someone called the Spectre Report. I don't know who that is. And it says, going live on Rumble, talking about the return of John Lee Baird and his newest friend, serial defamer Laura Izaguirre of McDade, Texas, and her defending John's rape of a 14-year-old child while he was a teacher in Austin.
End of flashback.
And this person wrote, with Governor Tim Walz designating Nick Shirley a white supremacist terrorist, assume that if he is present near you, he intends to murder you or incite others. Act in self-defense on site. I doubt any Minnesota or blue state DA will bring charges if you make clear you feared for your life. Now, once again, this is a creature that continued writing hit pieces on me during my campaign. So this is just a person that wants to see people they disagree with murdered. Once again, remember, they don't call you a Nazi, they don't call you a white supremacist, they don't call you a fascist because they think you are one. They do that to make you an acceptable target for life ruination and violence. Again, maybe we can just kill the people noticing? Yeah, that new addition to the cycle is really playing out here. Maybe we can just kill the people who are noticing what's going on before we get to the "and it's a good thing" portion. It says, breaking, Cowley Vang, who admitted to being an illegal alien, has just been sworn in as mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota. I am an illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country, Vang said. This should not be tolerated in the United States of America. End this. Why are we letting people here illegally be elected? How does this even fucking happen?
Because his mother had died. My father, as the one processing the paperwork, put my grandmother down as his mother. And so I am illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country. Because his mother had died.
That's not a good thing! This woman shouldn't be a mayor! She should be fucking deported! Actual clown world, man! That should not be possible. It's unconstitutional. And I'm sick of these people trying to twist the Constitution to protect criminals and to ruin our society. No, we should not have illegals being elected to fucking mayoral positions. We should not be having foreign nationals in charge of immigration councils, like in California. That's insanity. Holy fuck. Breaking, Somali daycares in Minnesota are now making false 911 calls on journalists, claiming they're in grave danger, causing Minneapolis Police Department to respond at high speeds with lights and sirens, per MPD source. Arrest them for making false reports. This is wild. Every part of our system is orchestrated and used to protect these criminals who are here. Everything in our system is used to oppress you as an American citizen and protect these people. They are not going to be arrested for false reports. It just won't happen. And I don't have any fucking false hope that it would. Nick continues, this just occurred to Angel Arusi and me at Somali Daycare, located directly next door to the Somali Daycare, who said that they were burglarized. And MPD sources tell me this is increasingly occurring now. This is an attempt by Somali fraudsters to have journalists falsely arrested for exposing their fraud. Callers will say something along the lines of, they have a gun, or they're reaching for something in their pockets in order to get MPD to put innocent lives in danger, racing to the scene. I will be having my lawyers submit a FOIA request for these 911 calls tonight. Hold these people accountable. Fucking bless Nick, dude. Bless Nick. That's fucking insane. Hey, Hey, the sign is fixed.
If they're on your property, they have to leave in that.
Hey, look, it's the Learing Center, true. Cutting off a bit of the sea, yeah. No more tolerance towards these assholes. Send in the Marines, get ICE to get them the fuck out. I want to see that. I want to see that fucking happen. Minnesota governor has not sent the federal government a single receipt or expense justification for childcare payments following HHS's pause on payments this week because it had further exposed the fraud. Yes, that's exactly what
Jim,
I'm betting.
thank you so much for coming on. Looking forward to talking with you about this. So earlier this week, you and HHS announced that you're pausing all child care payments to the state of Minnesota, and you asked the state to start providing proof for those expenses. You want receipts, you want photos, you want justification for why they need that money. Has the state given you anything yet?
We're still waiting. We told them on Tuesday we need receipts. We're not going to send money to Minnesota, to the state, until we know that it's not going to fraud, and the burden of proof is on them to prove it. So we've asked them to send receipts, and we're eager to review them.
And still nothing yet?
Nothing yet.
Wow. So we just heard in Garrett's report right there, we started off with all the allegations of fraud within the Medicaid program, child care. People knew about that. Then it comes out that the SBA thinks there's potentially upwards of 7,000 fraudulent cases for small business loans during COVID in Minnesota.
Yeah, we read that tweet from the lady a minute ago.
It just looks worse every week. Everything we learn looks worse than what we knew the previous week in all these programs. In Medicaid.
And once again, we need the mass deportations, and then we need the politicians and the government officials in those areas to be held to account. There's no way they had no idea this was going on. There's no way Ilhan Omar was not implicated in some of these things. She's the one who set up the Feeding Our Future. She tried deflecting on a news broadcast that, oh, the guardrails just weren't put in place, and so it was able to be taken advantage of. That was your thing. You could have put the guardrails in place.
In child care and across the government, we are taking an all-department approach to stopping fraud, to ensuring that we're not spending money fraudulently in Minnesota, and the rest of the government is doing the same.
So one of the biggest questions is, how was this allowed to happen for so long, right? The Washington Examiner did a little bit of digging, went through some campaign finance reports. Here's an article they put out. It essentially says that Governor Tim Walz received $10,000 from donors who are tied to these Somali-run daycare centers. It says in part, quote, Walz received nearly $10,000 in campaign contributions from supporters connected to these Somali-operated
we saw some of those donations
daycare
last stream.
centers. My question to you is, should Governor Walz recuse himself in any of these ongoing investigations?
Well, in investigations maybe, but we're also trying to stop new money from going out at the same time as the investigation. So, for example, at the beginning of December, Dr. Oz sent an excellent letter to Governor Walz demanding a corrective action plan on Medicaid fraud. The state just finally delivered the plan a couple of days ago, and we're reviewing it. We are not going to spend money on Minnesota until we are confident there is no fraud. We are doing something similar, as you said, on child care, demanding receipts. We are going to make sure that the state of Minnesota and Governor Walz is held accountable for ensuring that there is no fraud, both looking backwards and looking forwards.
So since you made that announcement this week about pausing the payments, I'm sure you've seen some of the local politicians out there and some of the activists have been holding press conferences decrying the fact that the money spigot has been turned off. They're not happy about it. What's your response to them?
The money
We are ready to approve payments very rapidly. They just have to spend the receipts. We're not delaying anything. Send us the receipts, send us the proof, provide evidence that this is not being spent on fraud, and we will send the money to the state.
We've got about 30 seconds left here. A few months from now, we're heading into tax season. Americans work hard, they pay their taxes, and they're pretty ticked off about what they've seen happening here in Minnesota. What can you say on behalf of HHS to those Americans that this fraud is going to stop?
It is going to stop. A lot of working families are struggling to pay for child care. They're also struggling to pay for health care. Congress created child care programs and Medicaid in order to support these families. They appropriated tax money. Taxpayers paid the money. We are going to ensure that the money goes to the people it's intended for and not to fraudsters, and we are going to hold Minnesota accountable.
Yep, a lot of people waiting for that accountability.
Yes.
HHS Deputy Secretary.
Still waiting.
Thanks so much for coming in today. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Still waiting. I mean, we've been uncovering this shit since, like, the spring, man. Quality Learing Center called the cops on Nick Sortor for stopping by to wish them a happy new year.
What's up? I'm just here to wish everybody a happy new year from the Quality Learing Center here tonight. You want to say anything to everybody?
Damn, look at that guy's fucking hairline. What the fuck?
Huh? You're trespassing in my country.
Live, sir. Live, please.
Live. What do you mean live? I'm living well. I'm on the sidewalk. What are you talking about?
You're on our parking lot.
Okay. What time do you close?
None of your business.
None of my business? Okay. All right. Well, happy New Year anyway.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
You're trespassing
Enjoy.
in my country. Yeah, that's the
Probably
best
won't
response,
be a great
man.
one for you, though, I'll be honest with you.
I hurt his feelings, so the cops have been called. What a candy ass man. Jesus. The fact that these people need enforcers for this shit is wild. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a rental, bro, but I mean, that's fine. If it makes you feel better.
Hurt his feelings. Did he call it his hairline? Actually wild. Actually ridiculous. Elon Musk said, then it is war. I don't know if Elon's gonna do anything. It'd be interesting to see. But, Somali TikToker threatens Elon Musk's life. I wouldn't worry too much about him. He about to die. What an odd thing to say.
Musk. هذا رفور حما. إلى Musk عبس كفور مثلا.
When people say like this is fake, I'm like, actually, well, let's look at.
كان محو هايستا العق بس هايستا بدو فول حمية. بس كفول حمية كان. وأدق ودم الربع. I wouldn't worry too much about this one.
Oh no, she actually did the that I do when I'm like mocking people.
That I bet he's I wouldn't worry too much about him. He about to die.
Why does she sound like that? What kind of a voice is that? The guy's definitely dumb. That's a woman, I'm pretty sure. I think about this all the time. What does he think about all the time? If I'm being perfectly honest, I think I'm beginning to lose the will to be tolerant. Elon said, if tolerance means the end of Western civilization, then we cannot be tolerant. Matt said, Elon was right. If they won't leave us in peace, then our choice is to fight or die. I mean, and they want you to die, which is why they call you all sorts of names in the hopes that you will shut the fuck up and stop trying to defend yourself. Because defending yourself makes you the problem. Watch how they screamed as I defended myself from slander and libel by threatening legal action. Just a small cartoon fox versus the conglomerate of Vice, but nope. Definitely, just didn't think it would be worth it to go to court. That's why they didn't do it. Even though they have way more fucking money than I do. Learning Center dude looks like a character from Code Lyoko! Code Lyoko reference? Those only happen like twice a year? And he said, I just want to make a quick point. Prior to last year, there had never been a shooting at a high school graduation in Minnesota. Last year, there were 3, and all of the shooters were Somali males. And somebody asked Grok, is this true? And Grok said, based on reports from sources like NPR News and federal charges, there were 3 shootings at or near high school graduations in Minnesota in 2025. Wayzata on May 30th, Adena-related, and Burnsville on June 6th. No such incidents are documented prior to 2025. The suspects, all males aged 18 to 20, have names like Hamza Saeed, Amir Ali, Abdihali Jama Ali, and Abdikani Abdi Wahab, which are common in Somali communities. And someone quote retweeted that, saying, a parent got shot in the head by a Somali coming out of a graduation at UMN. The University of Minnesota answer was to ban graduations and keep the Somalis. The university will no longer host high school graduations, which is a problem for large schools. They believe the criminals are the real victims. And I was like, you know what? I'd be willing to believe this, but this sounds so fucking crazy. It can't possibly be real. Wayzata High School graduation shooting, man charged in the Mariucci Arena violence that injured 2 people. A man has been charged in connection with a shooting outside Wayzata High School's graduation at Mariucci Arena in Minneapolis. Hamza Abdirashid Saeed, 20, of Coon Rapids, is charged via an order of detention with first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and possessing/operating a machine gun in connection to the May 30th shooting. What we know is that the University of Minnesota police responded to the Mariucci Arena around 8 p.m. on Friday, May 30th, in response to a shooting at the Wayzata High School graduation ceremony. Witnesses described hearing 2 gunshots, the criminal complaint states. When police arrived, they found one victim, a 49-year-old man, who had an obvious gunshot wound to the head that was spurting blood. The victim told police he was standing outside with his family after the graduation ceremony. He saw a group of men fighting or having an argument behind him before he heard a gunshot and began to run with his family away from the argument. After about 20 yards, the victim felt a burning sensation on his head and touched it before he collapsed. He was taken to the Hennepin County Medical Center. He suffered a fractured skull and a brain bleed, with the criminal complaint noting the wound caused numbness on his right side. A second victim, a 19-year-old man, suffered a gunshot wound to his right leg. He was not cooperative with officers and was taken to the hospital for treatment, court documents said. Surveillance video captured the shooting from above. It showed several men, including Saeed, running southbound from the area of the East Mariucci Arena entrance, charging documents state. Saeed, wearing a black gown consistent with traditional Somali garment and not a graduation gown, pulled up the front of his clothing to about stomach height and reached for his waistband area. He then extended his right hand toward the second victim, who quickly changed direction and ran northbound, charging documents allege. The video showed a handgun in his hand and appeared to fire multiple rounds, the charges said. Immediately after, people in the area ducked and ran. The suspect then jumped over the bushes and continued southbound away from the Mariucci Arena. He then placed an item in the bushes on the southeast corner of Williams Arena and put his gown on the sidewalk on the south side of Williams Arena. He's then seen wearing a white t-shirt, gray pants, black sandals with white socks. The suspect also removed a black face mask and black shirt just after the incident. Police located the suspect's gown and handgun, which had an automatic conversion kit, and extended magazine attached to it. They also found the black face mask he was wearing. A witness told police they were on the walkway south of the Oak Street entrance when they heard commotion and a single gunshot. They saw a man matching Saeed's description run towards Williams Arena. Officers located Saeed walking on the westbound Pleasant Street southeast, and he was arrested. Authorities haven't determined if he was inside the graduation ceremony prior to the shooting. It's also unclear if the 19-year-old victim attended the graduation ceremony. Court documents did not list a motive for the shooting. Oh, that's great. I'm glad we just don't bother to get motives anymore, man. It's like, why try when you can die? I'm on ya. In an update on Sunday, University of Minnesota police said the victims had both been released from the hospital. In a message to parents, a Wayzata official said one of the victims was the parent of a graduate. Superintendent Chase Anderson dispelled rumors he said were circulating online, explaining investigators have not been able to confirm any connection between the shooter or the second victim and our graduation ceremony. Please know that several safety measures were in place before and during the ceremony, including operational metal detectors at all entrances, as well as the presence of school resource officers and University of Minnesota police and security personnel. Moving forward, we are committed to continually renewing and strengthening our security protocols and exploring ways to prevent such incidents in the future. And I was like, okay, so that proves that the parent did get shot in the head, and that did actually happen. But what about shutting down the graduation ceremony instead of actually doing something about the violence here? And the shooting took place at the end of May 2025. And then this announcement happened in October 30th, 2025, as dated on the article. University of Minnesota says it will stop hosting high school graduation ceremonies. University of Minnesota says it will no longer rent facilities in its Twin Cities campus for high school graduation ceremonies. A change that has left many area school districts searching for new venues for next spring ceremonies. The university informed districts of its decision on Tuesday. Hosting more than 20 outside events with thousands of attendees over a 2-week period represents a significant strain on the university's limited resources that is no longer sustainable, the U of M said in a subsequent statement provided to NPR News. The university is committed to doing what it can to ensure a smooth transition for area high schools. U of M officials said they remain focused on our students, safety for all operations, and core mission at a time when higher education is facing significant challenges. Many Twin Cities area districts had moved their commencement ceremonies to venues at the U of M in particular. 3M Arena at Mariucci, because it was better able to accommodate large crowds than at individual schools. But the season of high school graduation ceremonies on campus was marred last spring when there was a shooting outside the Wayzata High School event. Wow. I'm so shocked. The U of M statement on its policy change did not mention that incident. The South Washington County School District was among those affected by the policy change. The principal of its East Ridge High School, James Smokrovich, sent a letter to families Wednesday saying the announcement was a surprise. We're disappointed in the decision because hosting our commencement ceremonies at Mariucci last year provided a great experience for our students and their families. The late notice also puts large high schools like ours in a tough spot. Smokrovich wrote that East Ridge has started reaching out to other potential sites for next spring's ceremony, but there are limited venues that work with the size of our graduating classes. The U of M's policy change also affects high schools in the Anoka-Hennepin School District, as well as Spring Lake Park High School, and it's drawn criticism from at least one state lawmaker representing part of the metro. Republican State Senator Michael Kroon of Blaine wrote to the U of M president, Rebecca Cunningham, urging her to reconsider the decision. Making this decision in late October puts affected districts in a significant bind to find alternative venues, noting that graduation dates have already been set. Families have already made graduation plans and festivities around the graduation date, and many family members have already made travel plans. It is disappointing to learn that you didn't make this decision in the consultation with the affected school districts. Kroon wrote that it would have been more responsible to start any policy changes in the 26-27 school year. The Anoka-Hennepin district said graduation ceremonies for its Andover, Coon Rapids, and Champlain Park high schools had been held at the 3M Arena at Mariucci for more than a decade, and Blaine High School ceremony was moved to that venue 4 years ago. The district was committed to utilizing Mariucci again for the class of 2026 prior to the announcement, the district said in a statement. The plan going forward is for school and district officials to evaluate other venue options for the off-campus ceremonies and finalize a plan for 2026 graduations as soon as possible. Always amazes you that high schools get so large to the point they don't have a large enough auditorium themselves to host graduation. You know what would probably fix that? Less people here illegally going to those schools. That's very interesting that only several months after that shooting happened, they were like, well, time to stop hosting graduations. There's nothing else we could possibly do. Says, the Daycares invited you over where they just happened to have the little cherubs lined up sleeping 3 days after a viral expose. The Minnesota Star Tribune, which I guess is just propaganda at this point, said, we went to the Daycares, Nick Shirley did, here's what we found. Some of the 10 daycares that the YouTube content creator blasted for having no children invited reporters in to see for themselves by Dina Winter and Jeffrey Metroit. Some of the 10 daycares the YouTuber content creator blasted for having no children, once again, invited reporters in to see for themselves. Oh yes, reporters, please run cover for us. Look, we have beautiful children in here right now, specifically planted for when we invited you to see them here. Wow. And someone else said, this went so badly today that Dina Winter nuked her ex profile. Seems like she likes to spew bullshit, but can't take any criticism. Just a thought. I wonder if that's how the inspections go for these places. You have to be invited first. That's crazy. And then the people who posted this said, again, she nuked it a couple of months ago as well after we ridiculed her. That's crazy. Look at one of the agitprop photos included in the Dina Winter story. And it's a Somalian reading, this book is anti-racist. What an interesting book to be holding in your daycare center. Oh my god, she can't even speak English, but she can read it. That's a funny comment on the side. Second place goes to the Star Tribune. Totally not specifically for optics or anything. Oh my god. Oh hey, I know, I recognize that lady. She was with Tim Pool for a while, right? Definitely sleeping because they'd have told the journos the truth if they'd been awake. Oh my god. Then it was pointed out she only got into 4 of the 10 daycares, and she said that's 4 more than Nick got into, insulting him. I replied, you may have gotten into 4 more than he did, but he got over 100 million times the views your story did. Get fucking wrecked, journalists. Councilwoman Vicky Palladino is a New York City council member representing District 19 of Queens, GOP minority whip. She said, did everyone at that rally get some kind of instruction beforehand to not mention the word fraud under any circumstance? Is that why this is the second video we've seen of a woman looking like she just blasphemed after uttering the word fraud? This is so weird and makes them all look guilty.
And I do see some signs over here that say stop fraud, and I agree, stop it. There are wait lists for these programs that are years long. There is fraud, and
the way that she looks after she says there is fraud is just so fucking goofy. Like, oh no, I took the Lord's name in vain. Not like this. My party will execute me. And like, look at this person over here giving her the side eye when she said it. Look at this fucking side eye happening, brother man. It's so over for this woman. The fucking Bernie, bro! Damn, that looks like a castle. That's a crazy house. It's not happening. It's a conspiracy theory. Okay, it's happening. It's Trump's fault. This is Duper's Delight. Oh, man. Where? Oh, is this the other one? Right after the other lady made the same tell, why are they all acting so incredibly guilty? Here we go.
If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school.
Yeah, I just don't believe you.
I understand. Fraud is bad.
Why would she cover her mouth from saying fraud is bad? That's just true. That's just fucking true. She didn't even say fraud is happening like the other bitch. What the fuck? She's definitely getting hit at home for that. She's getting 30 lashes from the quick. What the fuck? If she knows she's getting beat, she's done. She's like, I can't. All right, I've already fucked up enough. It's implied that it's happening when she said it's bad. That's when she knew she fucked up. That's so, it makes them look so fucking guilty. It makes them look so guilty. And retards would be like, oh, you're only assuming that they're guilty because you're racist. The white bitch said it too. Come on, man. Come on, man. Somali Daycare, who falsely claimed someone broke in and stole their student enrollment documents, are now showing off where the burglar entered. Unfortunately for them, the cuts of the sheetrock seem to have been made on the inside
of what they say vandals did. Now, this is where they say the vandals got into the daycare through cinder block and appeared to be unsuccessful.
Through cinder block, by the way.
When trying many other ways. The daycare says it appears the vandals first tried to saw into the door of the Family Dollar next door in the shopping center, but that didn't work.
Why is Family Dollar catching strays, man?
The manager claims those who broke in went straight to the office, stealing information of the many children who were taken care of here.
We are not a part of any harmful things that are being said.
Somebody posted an image about how these are like $2,000 fucking glasses or some shit. I like, where did they get these people in the background to hold up these fucking shitty ass signs? Where did they find these people? Come on, dude. Oh, it's $2,500. My bad. I thought it was $2,000. They're $2,500 glasses. That's almost as much as a clock.
We have no problem with CCAP, and our licensing has been good. We
have no problem with CCAP, and our licensing has been good. Yes, I'm sure you teach the children quite a lot at your daycare center.
I want to say no intimidation is going to stop us.
Of what they say.
No intimidation is going to stop us. You know what? I believe him on that. No fear of having their crimes being looked into and their fraud being uncovered, because they know that the politicians in power are just going to keep covering for them. They know. This is why every time some of these people get caught, they're just so fucking smug, man. Surprised they didn't paint "This is MAGA country" on the wall. Actually true and real, buddy. Defund the police group bails out an abusive dad who then goes on to strangle his baby mama to death. But, you know, to a group like Defund the Police, that's just collateral damage, you know, that's an acceptable loss. I was not expecting this to be related to Minnesota. I apologize, chat. It does appear to be a Somalian. An abusive boyfriend viciously stabbed and strangled the mother of his children to death while out on bail, which was posted by a Portland Defund the Police group, authorities say Wednesday. Yes, indeed. What will we lear from this article? Mohammed Adan, 36, had been behind bars for repeatedly beating his girlfriend, Rachel Abraham, in August 2022, when the now defunct group of police abolitionists set him free, according to OregonLive.com. The Portland Freedom Fund, thinking it knew better than law enforcement professionals, decided to bail him out. Senior prosecutor Melissa Marrero said at his sentencing hearing Tuesday. It cost her her life. So, is there any way we can hold that now defunct group accountable? Like, the group doesn't exist, but the people who are in it do. So, like, could we not charge those people since they got him out and then he killed her? Abraham, 36, who had 2 kids with Adan, had begged a judge not to release him after he strangled and punched her twice in the head while high on methamphetamine and cocaine in May 2022. Statistics show that strangulation cases lead to homicide, Abraham said in a statement, read aloud in court roughly 2 months before she was murdered. I don't want to be a victim. Instead, Abraham was granted a no-contact order that offered her no protection, and he was arrested again on June 23rd for punching and strangling her as he hissed, "I should kill you," according to prosecutors. I feel like no-contact orders are kind of fucking worthless based on not only this case, but there was that previous case that sticks in my head where a woman had a restraining order on her ex-boyfriend, and he came to her house and was trying to break in, and she called the police, and they were like, well, we have no one to send to you. Have you tried asking him not to break in? And she was like, yeah, I've asked him to go away, and he's not. And then he broke in and beat her and raped her. So I feel like it would be in everyone's best interest of self-defense to just be armed at this point. Like, do not rely on the police. You shouldn't have been relying on police before, but definitely don't rely on them now. And restraining orders, kind of worthless. It feels like they are just some sort of weird fucking legal step you have to take in order to prove that you're afraid of someone, and they do nothing. Judge Benjamin Bouchon granted Aiden's release 5 days later and ordered him to wear a GPS ankle monitor, which he quickly removed before going to Abraham's house. What are we doing here? Why are we giving ankle monitors to people who want to kill someone? Like, what is happening? Metallachurch, thank you. Please don't release him. I don't want to die. So we released him, and for some reason she died. Who could have foreseen this? Just incompetence at every level. And Defund the Police are a communist group, so not surprising that they're retarded and want to do damage. He was arrested again for beating her with prayer beads on August 11th. Wait, hold on. What is this timeline? Okay, so he beat her in May, and then she begged to not be a victim and not to release him. And then in June, he was arrested again for beating her. And then he was released again and was given a GPS monitor. And then he beat her again in August. So he was released multiple times, and every time he was released, he beat her again, regardless of a restraining order, regardless of an ankle monitor. Why in the fuck was he not held after this? It's literally a pattern. What are we doing here? Activists with the Portland Freedom Fund then paid the standard 10% of his bail required by law, $2,000 of the total $20,000. How was his bail only $20,000 for beating this woman 3 fucking times and everyone knowing he would kill her if he had the chance? What are we doing? What is our fucking non-justice system? On August 20th, and he was set free again with a GPS tracker that he again disabled! If he already disabled the previous GPS tracker, why would you think it would work a second time? I hate everyone involved in this. And everyone involved should face criminal repercussions. This isn't like retardation or negligence that led to this woman's death. These are purposeful steps by malicious people not caring about this woman's life. He then went to Abraham's apartment and savagely slashed her face and arms before strangling her to death while 3 of her children were home, according to prosecutors. Wow, who could have seen this coming? What a shock! Oh no! I am so fucking angry. A woman is literally dead because of activist judges letting this guy free, even though he has proved to be a risk every single time they let him free. And the fucking commie shit cunt defund the police idiots also wanted him out. On Tuesday, Aiden pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to life behind bars. Just fucking execute him! What do you mean? What do you mean life behind bars? He was arrested 3 times for beating this woman and released all 3 of those times, and then the 4th time he fucking killed her. Are you kidding me? Why are we not executing this thing? He'll be eligible for parole in 25 years. All right, if I speak, I will be banned.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
The Portland Freedom Fund, which aimed to bring attention to the racial disparity in the cash bail system, shut down in September 2022. I would believe they're probably operating under a different name. There's no way these idiots just gave up. This has been an absolutely fucking infuriating article. Holy shit. Holy fuck. This woman should be alive. This woman would be alive if it wasn't for a massive failure of Portland's fucking system. What an absolute joke. What an absolute fucking joke. The streamer Kunshi Kitty wants to show in Cologne that women can safely walk through the cheerful groups of men. The emphasis, however, lies on wants, as she is attacked multiple times.
Mit Handschuhe auf. Besser ist das. Au! Au! Fuck! Au! Ah, ich habe irgendwas abbekommen. Ich habe irgendwas gegen den Kopf bekommen. Au! Ich glaube, wenn ich so 2 Meter Türsteher Schrank wäre, hätten die das nicht gemacht. Ah, schon wieder, Alter! Wichser!
I'm not surprised, but I also think that it's funny that it's in Cologne. Because the only thing I remember about Cologne, and the only thing they'll probably forever be remembered for at this point, is that back during the peak of the migrant crisis of hordes flooding into Europe, the mayor of Cologne said that if women want to be able to leave the house safely, they should have a male escort. If you don't want to get raped when you leave the house, just have a man with you. I was like, that's fucking crazy. That is a fucking insane thing to hear from a Western country mayor. In Queens, New York, prosecutors say 38-year-old Edwin Cruz Gomez drove his SUV into a family of 4 after an argument, splitting 16-year-old Joanny Alvarez in half and killing her on the spot. They say he had offered the teen and her mother money for sex in front of her boyfriend and stepfather, sparking a fight. After bystanders broke it up, he allegedly got into his SUV and rammed into all 4. His blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit. ICE says he is from Honduras, in the country illegally, and has crossed the border multiple times, and has a prior DUI arrest. He is now charged with murder and related offenses. And I was like, damn, that sounds fucking crazy, but also, I need to know if that's true. And unfortunately, it is, because I found an article. A New York City man has been charged with murder after he intentionally hit 3 people with his car, including a 16-year-old girl, who was pronounced dead at the scene, according to the Queens District Attorney Office. Edwin Cruz Gomez, 38, was arraigned on Sunday, this was back in September, on charges of murder, attempted murder, assault, vehicular manslaughter, and quote-unquote other crimes for intentionally driving his vehicle at 4 people, including a teenager and his mother? Supposed to be her mother, I thought, whom he sexually propositioned just minutes earlier. The district attorney's office said in a press release on Monday. The incident occurred at approximately 4:10 a.m. on Saturday, when the suspect, who was with several other men outside the Prima Donna restaurant in Queens, New York, encountered the teen and her mother, offering them both money for sexual acts. After the suspect subjected 16-year-old Joanny Alvarez and her mother to crude sexual solicitations and harassment, a verbal altercation, which then grew to a physical altercation, ensued between the teen's stepfather and the suspect, officials said. Bystanders were able to intervene and separate the men, officials said. The victim, her mother, stepfather, and boyfriend proceeded to walk away from the restaurant, which is when the suspect got into his car and barreled his 3-ton vehicle into them and pinned the teen against a pole with his Chevrolet Suburban. After striking the teen, her mother and stepfather then proceeded to put the SUV in reverse, struck an unoccupied van, abandoned his vehicle, and fled the scene on foot. Once emergency responders arrived on the scene, the 16-year-old was determined to be deceased, officials said. The teen's mother was transported to a local hospital for treatment of injuries to her legs sustained during the collision. The suspect, who approached uninformed NYPD officers a few blocks away from the scene, reported that he was assaulted and then led officers back to the location of the collision. Why is it that so many people here illegally think that they can just continuously lie and get away with everything? Don't answer that. We already know the answer. Cruz's blood alcohol content was then measured to be 0.137%, well above the legal limit of 0.08%. He was taken into custody on the same day, according to court records. The suspect's next court appearance is scheduled for September 19th, according to the district attorney's office. If convicted, he could face 25 years to life in prison. Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz said in a statement that officials will seek justice for the teen and her family. Cruz's attorney did not immediately respond to ABC's News request for comment. Uniondale man, excuse me, what do you mean Uniondale man? Shouldn't that be fucking illegal alien from Honduras? Excuse me? For murder, attempted murder for intentionally driving into teen and family on Roosevelt Avenue. Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz announced that Edwin Cruz Gomez was indicted for murder, attempted murder, assault, driving under the influence, and other crimes for intentionally aiming his vehicle at a 16-year-old girl and her family on Roosevelt Avenue in Elmhurst and killing the teen. The defendant sexually propositioned the girl and her mother just minutes before the collision. DA Katz said, as alleged, the defendant crudely propositioned 16-year-old Johanny Sare Gomez Alvarez and her mother for sex. After a brief physical altercation with the child's stepfather, the defendant got behind the wheel of his SUV while intoxicated, drove onto the sidewalk, and aimed his vehicle directly at the group, killing the teenager and severely injuring her mother. This was a completely preventable tragedy, and our condolences are with the family and friends of Johanny as they continue to mourn her senseless loss. He was here illegally. If he was not here, this woman would still be alive. Cruz Gomez, 38, of Nostrand Avenue in Uniondale. I'm so fucking tired of them using this weird language. Talking about that dumb shit where they try to say like they try to say like he's a resident or like a fucking American man kind of like they use the local places. I hate it. I hate it. Cruz Gomez, 38, of Honduras, not whatever the fuck they're saying here, was arraigned today on a 15-count indictment charging him with 3 counts of murder in the second degree, 3 counts of attempted murder in the second degree, 2 counts of assault in the second degree, aggravated vehicular homicide, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, leaving the scene of an incident without reporting, aggravated driving while intoxicated, 2 counts of operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol, and reckless driving. Queens Supreme Court Justice Michael Alois continued remand and ordered him to return to court on December 2nd. Hey, how come we don't have a December 2nd update? If convicted, the defendant faces up to 27 1/3 years to life in prison. How about we just execute him? How about that? He literally cut a teenager in half with his vehicle on purpose after she declined being paid for sex. How about we just execute him? Why doesn't our system actually do anything? And then they retrace what happened here. After driving onto the sidewalk, allegedly struck 16-year-old Gomez Alvarez, pinning her against a pole and her mother and stepfather. Gomez then reversed, blah, blah, blah. We already read this. So there's supposed to be a December 2nd return to court. Chuck Schumer said, our ultimate goal is to get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
I say we revoke everything from the dreamers, because, like, I have a dream, the American dream, and as an American citizen, that dream belongs to me and me alone. Me and my fellow American citizens, not people who were brought over here illegally and claim to be dreamers. They can dream back home in their own countries. It took 9 years and 3 billion miles to get this shot, Pluto's icy mountains. And I think that's pretty fucking cool. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder if it'll ever be possible for us to put boots on the ground on Pluto. You know? Whiplash! Not a planet. Fuck you! Pluto's a planet! In my heart! American... Yeah, I'll pay for the tax dollars it takes to get American boots on Pluto, alright? That's where I'd like to see American boots. Pluto's the 9th planet. That's too cold even for you, Foxu. Well, I'm sure we could make some sort of technology suits or some shit. Activists and advocates for Karmelo Anthony, the Frisco ISD student who fatally stabbed Austin Metcalf, are now attempting to frame me and have me jailed. For months, supporters of Karmelo Anthony have targeted me over my factual, detailed reporting on this case. I've been swatted, subjected to false reports to Child Protective Services, and one individual is currently sitting in jail for making threats against my family. A new conspiracy theory has now emerged. Activists are pushing a false claim that I sent people to Drew Anthony's workplace in an effort to get him fired or force him to resign. Their supposed evidence consists of fabricated text messages presented by a new Karmelo Anthony supporter who claims to be a journalist. This activist authored a 20-page petition calling for me to be investigated and sent it to candidates for Texas Attorney General. The intent is clear: to frame me for something I did not do and push for my incarceration. They're not even attempting to conceal that objective. The petition is filled with out-of-context allegations and inflammatory rhetoric. It was signed by Christopher King and convicted activist Tiffany McAdoo, also known as Tiffany Billions, who had been openly supported as an advocate by the Anthony family themselves. The petition concludes with a statement: "Your move, guys. Don't just do the white thing, do the right thing." I will include the petition in this thread for full transparency. And here's a video.
I mean, even a good journalist would never use something from someone who just says user, period. They would never use anything from just someone who says user. They would verify and make sure that that person is a legit person. They would get their name, get all that kind of stuff. So
Hello. My name is Sarah Fields, and I'm an investigative journalist and reporter. I'm also an activist in Texas, a mother of 4. Let's talk. I don't need to sit here and try to defend myself as a journalist. My work can speak for itself, and there's not an issue with you going to Google, looking up my name, Sarah Fields, going to my platform, Sarah is Censored, going to my Facebook, Sarah J. Fields, and looking at all my work. Go look under my highlights tab. I have exposed more public schools in this nation alone than countless.
When you're trying to explain who you are, especially to people who don't know who you are, it's not narcissistic to explain the work that you do and how well known the work that you do is. This is like when oh god, I can't even remember the name of the fucking YouTube channel, and I used to watch it. This is when that one like large YouTube channel claimed that Bridge was just something that grifters made up because he thought that it came from Grums and not me. And I was like, well, that's kind of fucking weird, considering I'm the only person who'd been talking about it, and everyone else who talks about it links to me, since it's my uncovering, you know? And there were some people in my comments who were like, you sound really narcissistic and egotistical talking about how much you've done. And it's like, well, how else am I supposed to explain it to people who don't know who the fuck I am? Because most people don't know who the fuck I am, because I'm pretty fucking tiny, all things considered. Upper echelon, thank you. Thank you, I forgot about that. So it's like, I don't think it's narcissistic, and I don't think it's egotistical to explain the work that she does, because this is going to reach people who don't know who the fuck she is, you know?
Other journalists and mainstream media sources. I'm known for my reporting on the recent stabbings. I'm known for my reporting on the trucker incidents. I have been nationally recognized by the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. I could go on and on, but I don't need to. Either you can look at my prior video, or you can just go research me for yourself. I am a conservative journalist, just letting you know that. That being said, I'm also the journalist who very extensively covered the Karmelo Anthony story. If you don't know, Karmelo Anthony is who stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart on April 2nd.
And we've actually read a lot of her reporting, and even after her reporting, we've read about all the people attacking her and going after her for trying to showcase like the amount of really weird things the people in defense of Karmelo are doing. It's not narcissism to prove your credibility when it's questioned. It's only narcissism when you're asserting your ego on other people to feel more superior. Yeah, exactly.
At a track meet in Frisco, at Frisco ISD property. He is now out on bail, awaiting trial June 1st for M1. A lot of people came to me for my reporting on this story. I reached millions, not nationwide, worldwide. I reached millions. Not only for my reporting on the story alone, but also for my reporting on the individuals who have represented the Anthony family. Drew Anthony has brought on some very interesting advocates for his family and his son, such as Dominique Alexander, a career criminal, and then now this new advocate, Tiffany Billions. Now, Tiffany Billions works directly with Drew Anthony. We already have evidence of this. And I have been relentlessly targeted over the months. You can also look that up. It's been on the news. They attempted to swap my home. They have targeted me with CPS. They have defamed me by trying to say that I am a Smith head,
Smith head? Targeting with CPS seems to have become more popular in recent years. Because like Ethan Klein also had that issue with people going after him, targeting CPS for his children. It's it's a nasty fucking tactic, but like nothing is too low for these people, and it is grotesque.
Live in a dump heap on the side of the road, that I am a prostitute, and have even gotten other people such as Charleston White to repeat these lies to his thousands and thousands of subscribers on YouTube. This escalated to the point that an individual was threatening to kill me and my family, and while I was pregnant with my child, and ended up being arrested not long after I gave birth to my child. And is now sitting here in county jail awaiting a hearing for threatening to kill my family. And yes, this person was a Karmelo Anthony supporter. And yes, this person was acquaintances with Tiffany Billions and Drew Anthony, Karmelo Anthony's dad. Needless to say, I have been through a lot, and this Tiffany Billions person, who's the advocate for the Anthony family, continues to bring on new clowns, new actors to try and target me, and have quite literally said that they want me in jail. And now, here is the new conspiracy about me. This person, this King guy, this Christopher King guy, claims to be a prior attorney. I think he was a property attorney, and claims to be a journalist. And he's not a credible one. And I'm about to prove it to you.
Okay.
Here you go.
But we're not done yet. I have text messages from one of her friends that directly indicate that she and others...
First of all, one of my friends, how do you know this? Moving on.
Yeah, true.
Others directly conspired to run Drew Anthony out of his business. You know, they would show up at his dealership, drive cars, pretend to buy them.
And there are people who actually are believing this when like the person that they're messaging just says user. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
And then once the deal was ready to be closed, indicate to the dealership that they wouldn't buy a car there, you know, because of Karmelo. And there were racial terms thrown in with that too, from what I hear. I can't verify that part.
No, you can't.
But, you know.
First of all, let me get this out of the way. I dare you to find anything racist about my reporting.
True.
I dare you. Moving on.
Well, actually, it's probably just racist to report on how a black man killed a white man in cold blood, allegedly with a knife. You know, that's racist. You shouldn't notice that.
The difference between a good journalist and one with just a narrative. I don't quite know what you think this is, but this is not evidence of anything. Considering the fact that these people have already attempted to swap my home, targeted me with CPS, made up horrendous lies about me, a mother, who is just trying to live her life and do her reporting, her job, it would not be out of the scope that this could all just be fake, right? I don't know who this person is. And when you try to look up this person, you can't find this account. Because yeah, I wanted to question this person.
Obviously.
And this usually indicates that this person deleted their account. That's usually what this indicates. But this conversation makes no sense whatsoever. This doesn't even go with this. What is this? I would love to see this entire conversation. Oh, well, she asked me on the phone and I stupidly didn't record it. Now, this so-called journalist is attempting to use this as evidence that I went to Jeff Metcalf's church. Jeff Metcalf is the father of Austin, who was stabbed in the heart and murdered. I went to his church, rallied a group together, and sent them to Drew's job In an effort to get him to resign.
That wouldn't make any sense because Metcalf's dad's a fucking cuck who's been doing nothing but preaching forgiveness for the kid that murdered his son. Like, that literally wouldn't even make any sense.
Or fired, I don't know. And now they are saying that they're going to get this evidence together, send it to the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, whom I know, and I know is going to laugh at it and toss it directly into the trash, in an effort to put me in jail. I have no idea who this Maddie person is. It's not a friend of mine. As a journalist, that would have been my first thing, was to go and see who are Sarah's friends. You didn't do that. I would have asked for the full conversation. You didn't do that either. You just have a few screenshots of people claiming that I supposedly sent people to Drew's job.
Clip is messed up. Yeah, this is very messed up. She's had the Karmelo Anthony supporters going after her for ages now. And it's really grotesque.
Now, as an actual journalist, if someone came to me with this story and provided those screenshots to me as evidence, I would ask them, do you have something else?
Right.
Because that's not evidence. And if they said no, I would tell them, no, I'm not running that story.
Exactly.
I'm not writing that article. In fact, I'll probably laugh at you. And then I'll probably question your character. Because if I ran a story like that, I would be guilty of defamation. And it would be irresponsible as a journalist. If I tried to put out a story like that and provided those screenshots as evidence, my following, my 500,000 followers would be like, is Sarah okay? We're not used to this. We're used to the facts.
And like, I'm not a journalist, but that's why I constantly ask you guys for like proof of stuff, right? Because people will like throw out, stuff in chat. And I'm like, do you have proof of this? Because like, I don't want to say this is a real thing with like out some kind of proof, And when I bring up something like that lady talking about Dominion, Sarah Powell, whatever her name was, I think it was Sarah Powell, whatever, something Powell. I was like, I never heard of this lady. I don't know what's going on. You guys in chat were saying she lost a lawsuit. Massive fucking grain of salt for anything regarding her and what she's saying in that case. Because like, I don't know what's going on with that. It was just something that was linked to me. And if I didn't have time to vet it, I want to be like, all right, don't take Sidney Powell. Thank you, Sidney Powell. And it's just like, I don't want anybody to take this as like complete fact when I'm not sure. And it's the same with reporting on like shootings and stuff happening in real time. I don't like reporting names because a lot of the times the first name reported is the wrong name. And I wouldn't want to be part of implicating an actually innocent person in something they have no business being implicated in. Always demand receipts. Yeah, always demand receipts. Especially if it's something that's going to like reinforce an opinion you already have. Always ask for receipts.
Used to factual information, we're used to documents and receipts. This is a narrative. This is not a real story. But yet here it is. Someone who claims to be a journalist. There is not a single journalist or attorney would accept that as evidence. This is clear targeting. This is a clear narrative to attempt to frame me and silence me in any possible way they can. They even want to put me in jail. They have no problem doing that.
Insanity.
Because they don't care about good families or children. They don't care about my life. They don't care about anyone's life. They care about their narrative. They would deprive my children of a mother because they hate me that much. They know that the one who controls the narrative controls the people.
True.
And they know that right now a lot of people look to me for the facts and they don't look to them. So they want me gone. Every act of censorship is an admission of fear. If I wasn't telling the truth and I was just some hack journalist, you wouldn't be doing this to me. You wouldn't be afraid. But you are very clearly afraid. People don't work this hard to silence a lie. Have a good day. If
it was hopeless, their propaganda would not be necessary.
So sure that Karmelo Anthony was innocent, you would not be targeting me the way you are. You wouldn't care about me at all.
True.
It's really sad that you're too stupid to see that.
Imagine. Doc Holiday, thank you. One of the biggest problems in the West is letting stupid folks believe that they're smart. Stupid folks should know that they're stupid. This will stop a lot of this. I don't know if you can convince a stupid person that they're stupid. It's pretty sad. Karmelo Anthony petition for transparency to the US AG and Texas DA candidates. This demand is hereby made of Ryan Raybould, Joan Huffman, A. Aaron Wrights, Joe Jaworski, and Nathan Johnson, with the express caveat that failure to address the matter may impact your ascension to office. You don't have enough MAGA faithful to win without the support of the black vote, and the overwhelming majority of that black vote shares our concerns, as does an increasing number of non-black voters. The original title is Karmelo Anthony Petition for Transparency to U.S. AG and Texas DA Candidates. We the people stand resolved and submit as follows, just as all people who saw the video before Frisco ISD zoomed it out to Mars have indicated. 4 boys bum-rushed Karmelo Anthony, who was seated at that point, and who remained seated at the point of being assaulted. The treatment of this case is a whitewash and a prime example of institutionalized racism. The government actors and private actors subject to 42 USC liabilities are staining the badge and setting race relations back to the 1960s. Holy fuck. So this is just like 20 pages of like random lies then? That's kind of nuts. That's kind of nuts. No wonder she said that it would just be laughed at and thrown out. So here's Sarah Fields. They already have moved into a massive 3,500 square foot home valued at over $800K that they're renting from Indian investors out of Frisco. I remember that. Here's the Maddie B texts. Someone on their team asked, did she offer to pay you to drive by the dealership and the Anthony's home, or did she want you to do this freely? Maddie responded, she wanted me to do it for free. Clean it up, Jaddies! They respond with, what? In all caps. Maddie says, I have considered telling Mike Howard what I know and turning over any texts. She needs to be on the gag order. Okay, well, if you have texts, why didn't you turn them over in this conversation? So the guy said, I would love to do that. And Maddie responded, first she wanted Dominique in jail, then Kevin, then somehow you came onto her radar, and then Charleston. She has harassed Harry Sisson and some other guys that expose pedos. Isn't Harry Sissy that guy who got told by some other, like, workout guy on Twitter that if this was like ancient Greece, Harry Sissy would be like his concubine or some shit? Wasn't that guy? Yes. Okay. I remember that. Who doesn't bully Harry? That's the only thing I remember. And then Maddie continued, what? Expose the corrupt department and something X? That doesn't even make any sense. And then there's a picture here with like, I don't know, that picture doesn't match up with Maddie's picture, so who knows who this is. It says, no lies have been told, stop messaging me, separate yourself from Dominique Alexander. You are tanking your own reputation by being affiliated with him. That man is evil. And until you separate yourself from Next Generation Action Network, I will never stop reporting on him. And whoever the person in blue is said, you sure? If I can give you the report and the video of what happened with text from the chief and investigators, will you apologize publicly and leave us alone? And the person responded, just so you know, don't you dare talk to me about making your family unsafe. I have done nothing but reported the truth. Maybe this is Sarah's old picture? I have no idea. I have no idea who that is. Sarah Fields here saying, let's hope so. My reporting on Dominique Alexander has reached millions on the X platform. I believe and hope that it has slowed down the donations considerably. The fact that they're still making donations to a guy who is an alleged murderer is a little crazy. It's more Sarah Fields. She's a nobody. Karmelo Anthony's family following the murder charge in the Austin Metcalf plans to use blah, blah, blah. We read this like when this happened. Screenshot all of this from my defamation case. Also, 42 USC 1985 is for government officials. Very surprised you don't know that since you were a big attorney. Breaking, I've confirmed with the Collin County. So they're just posting a bunch of like Sarah's public tweets and shit. Posting a bunch of this. There's 20 pages, man. But unlucky Sarah Fields having so many fucking issues here. That kind of sucks for that lady. I'm sure we'll get more updates on that, because once you start getting harassed by these people, they don't fucking stop. Federal appeals court says California open carry ban is unconstitutional. A Ninth Circuit panel said the ban ran afoul of a 2022 Supreme Court ruling that required courts to evaluate gun laws based on the country's historical tradition of firearm regulation. A federal appellate court ruled Friday that California cannot ban people from openly carrying firearms because the prohibition was an unconstitutional violation of the Second Amendment. The split decision by a 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said the state's ban ran afoul of a 2022 Supreme Court ruling that required courts to evaluate gun laws based on the country's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Because openly carrying weapons was a historical practice in the 18th century, it cannot be outlawed by today's lawmakers, Judge Lawrence Van Dyke wrote in the court's 2-1 majority opinion. The historical record makes unmistakably plain that open carry is part of this nation's history and tradition, Judge Van Dyke wrote. It was clearly protected at the time of the founding and at the time of the adoption of the 14th Amendment. The case was filed in 2019 by Mark Baird, a resident of Siskiyou County, a rural area in Northern California, who sought to openly carry his gun locally and elsewhere in the state. A lower court judge initially sided with the state of California, but Mr. Baird's lawyers argued to the Ninth Circuit that the decision had conflicted with the 2022 Supreme Court ruling. California law prohibits people from openly carrying firearms in counties with at least 200,000 residents, which amounts to a ban for 95% of the state's population. California allows residents of less populated counties to apply for an open carry license, but the process has been so convoluted that it has been impossible for anyone to obtain a license, the court found. State lawmakers passed the current open carry ban in 2011, partly in response to a growing movement of gun owners who wanted to openly display their unloaded firearms as they went about their everyday lives. Law enforcement groups pushed for the law because they felt officers were placed in precarious situations when they tried to determine whether people showing their weapons were threatening or law-abiding. If you just have a gun in a holster, that's not fucking threatening. What do you mean? What the fuck? Also, yeah, unloaded? What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit. Two Ninth Circuit judges who ruled against the state, Judge Van Dyke and Judge Kenneth K. Lee, were appointed by President Trump during his first term. The dissenting judge on the panel said that California's ban on open carry was constitutional because the state allowed residents to carry firearms with a concealed weapons permit. A state may not prohibit the public carriage of firearms by eliminating both open and concealed carry, but a state can lawfully eliminate one manner of carry to protect and ensure the safety of its citizens, as long as they are able to carry in another manner, wrote Judge N. Randy Smith, who was appointed by President George W. Bush. Yeah, imagine what people think of the Bushes. Governor Gavin Newsom of California criticized the decision, no surprise there, calling the two judges Republican activists who wanted to return to the days of the Wild West. He expressed confidence that the ruling would be overturned. Wow, check out that projection. Check out the projection when the man with the party with all the activist judges that prevent our laws from being actually enforced now calls Republican judges enforcing our Constitution the activists. They always cry when they strike you. The California Department of Justice is reviewing the opinion and considering all options, said Joanne Adams, a spokeswoman for the agency. We are committed to defending California's common sense gun laws. No such thing. No such thing. Costas Moros, director of legal research and education with the Second Amendment Foundation, praised the decision on X, but said that he expected a larger panel of Ninth Circuit judges to override the ruling through an en banc rehearing process. The Ninth Circuit will still reverse it, of course, but they will have to ignore Bruin and history again to do so, Mr. Moros wrote. Referring to the 2022 Supreme Court case named New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Incorporated versus Bruin. Adam Winkler, a constitutional law professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, said the ruling from the Ninth Circuit pushes the boundaries of the Second Amendment by recasting the prior interpretation that states can ban either open or concealed as long as they don't prohibit both. He said the ruling was emblematic of the confusing state of U.S. gun laws, since the Supreme Court's 2022 decision required analyzing each one to find a historical antecedent, and he also predicted that the decision would be overturned on appeal. In the meantime, Mr. Winkler said that he thought the ruling was unlikely to change habits in most of California, where it is not customary to see people wearing firearms in the open. It might not have that big of an effect on the ground in terms of carrying practices in California. However, it is certainly a very big, broad, bold ruling on the scope of the Second Amendment, Mr. Winkler said. I feel like there is a bit of a danger in not allowing open carry. And I always think back to that guy who wanted to shoot up a synagogue in, I believe it was Germany. And when we watched some of the footage in there, a woman got shot, and I don't remember if she got killed because it was so fucking long ago. But the guy was trying to break into a synagogue, and she saw him holding a gun on the street. And instead of being worried for her safety, because you can't do that in Germany, she was just like, you shouldn't be here, you should go home, turned her back to the man with the gun, and then obviously got shot after. And it's just like she had such little self-preservation instinct. It was surreal to watch. It was incredibly surreal.